Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Luke, and you're watching Luke the Gathering. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys had a great weekend. This is the end of the weekend, and on Friday, I participated in another draft at Davis Cards and Games, Crimson Vow draft. Feels like Crimson Vow's been with us for a while. I can't wait for Kamigawa to come out. Very excited for that one. But I did want to share with you the little draft deck that I made. Again, I'm Mr. 1 and 2, Play 3 games, only get one of them. I'm totally fine with that. Actually, this deck I was not stoked about whatsoever. I thought, my pack 1, pick 1, I'll share with you at the end. It's a mythic, but I don't think that mythic is particularly great in draft. I just drafted it because. And so when that happens, you kind of get off to a little rocky start. And I kind of knew what I was looking for, but it just didn't work out. But the games were close. And the really cool thing about this draft was I had a friend come with me today, or that day, and they had fun. And we played in the final game, and he beat me in that game, which was cool. Totally don't mind that. We played some good games. But here are the cards I drafted. I drafted Weaver of Blossoms. This guy helps you fix your mana because he's sort of a mana dork. He taps to add 1 mana of any color. And what's really nice is if you flip him, you get 2 mana of any color. And especially in green, it's great to have extra mana. And my deck, I felt, as a whole, is pretty slow. It's a very slow deck. So having that guy in was good. The sporeback wolf I had to put in because he's just a 2-drop. But the really, again, great is that he adds 2 to toughness when it's your turn. So he's a 2/4. And one of the things that really helped me in the win I got was this guy. Because I was playing somebody who was playing white. And I forget the secondary color they were playing, but it was white. And, their guys just were like 2/2s. And instead of trading, when he attacked, he just was able to go in because the other guys couldn't block him effectively. So I really liked Sporeback Wolf. Doesn't seem like much, but ends up being a decently good card in Limited. Snarling Wolf, I think, is an all-star in Limited. This guy, a 1-drop, can be a 3/3 on turn 2. Could be a 3/3 hitting for 3, and then if they don't respond, it could be 6 and then 9, and then it's already half over. So this guy can get you really, really far ahead. I wish I drafted 2 of these guys. I drafted 2 of them last time, did really awesome, but this time did not get a chance to draft the other one. I saw another one go by. I couldn't pick it up compared to the other thing I picked up in that pack, but Snarling Wolf is one of my favorites from Crimson Vow Limited. Another favorite is the apprentice sharpshooter. This guy is so cool. He's a 1/4 with reach. Seems like maybe a good defender. Definitely a good defender. 1/4 great defender, but he has training. And so when you attack with this guy and someone else who has greater power, he becomes immediately a 2/5. A 2/5 is hard to take out. That's a lot of toughness. He's just awesome. I love the apprentice sharpshooter. Flourishing Hunter is a 6-drop. Seems like a hard card to get down, but in green, not too bad, actually. 6/6, and he gains you life equal to the greatest toughness amongst other creatures. So often I'd be getting like 2 or 3 life after dropping him down. In the last draft, a couple weeks ago, I had 2 of these. So I actually had one down and then dropped another one and then got 6 life back because of the other one's 6 toughness. But not this time. Only got 1 of these. I wish I could have gotten more. Again, wish I could have gotten more. When straight up comparing this draft deck to my last one, this one is a lot worse. But they're very similar decks, so that's why I didn't like it too much. This was a black-green deck, and so we had the Ragged Recluse. I had blood tokens in this deck, but honestly, Ragged Recluse didn't do a whole lot. Didn't really transform into the Odious Switch too often. I think I got this guy to change once in the 6 games I played, so not the greatest. Innocent Traveler was great, though. Innocent Traveler on the flip side, is a flying 3/3, but if they have humans, it's a 5/3 flyer, and this won me the game like right off the bat. I put a pump spell on this, a pump enchantment, and they could not stop it because it was at that point a 7/5 flying in the air, and they just could not deal. So really great. Persistent specimen. This is nice, especially if you have to exploit anything. This is a great card to exploit. Just keeps coming back. Again, you have to pay 3 to get it to come back, and it's tapped, which isn't always the best. But you can work around it, like pay the 3 before your turn or anything like that. Desperate Farmer. A lot of guys die, so this one changed a lot into the 4/3 lifelinker. It was pretty decent. I have 2 of these. Gained a good amount of life with Desperate Farmer. Definitely above average. Here's Nature's Embrace. I think this is such a versatile card in Limited. It's an enchant aura, and you can do land or a creature. If you put on a creature, the creature gets +2/+2. That's what I gave on my Innocent Traveler when it changed, and then it just became too much for my opponent. You can also enchant land to give it 2 more of any one color, which I think is great. Helps you get to those bigger spells, especially in this deck, earlier. Sheltering Vows, another great card that's an enchantment aura. You can enchant a creature, and then right when you enchant, you get to draw a card. So that's really great. It replaces itself. And then the creature gets 1/3, so it gets a lot more toughness. I actually had 2 of these. And pairing it with something like Fell Stinger with Death Touch is just, it makes it hard to kill something like Fell Stinger or even the Toxic Scorpion. I had both of these scorpions in the deck, and I did at one point attach a Sheltering Vows to it, and it was just hard to get through me because it made these guys kind of beefy. And, you know, with that's so usually these guys end up just dying to something, or you like put this in front of something bigger, but you know, something smaller could just sort of take it out and trade with it, but not if you put the Sheltering Vows. The Sheltering Vows made these guys formidable. Undying Malice. I always like putting this card in just because I'm always afraid. I always feel like, oh, what if the other guy gets way more creatures than me and I run out? This way, I ideally like to use this where we can trade. I know that we're going to trade, and then I can put this out there, and the creature comes back while the opponent's creature dies, which is cool. Another thing to do with this is if in a pinch, if you know your creature's dying because they have removal that kills the creature, then you can use this to bring it back with a +1/+1 counter. Makes it a little stronger, so it's kind of nice. I mean, it's not the best card ever, but it's good. I really do like Diregraph Scavenger, another Death Toucher. So actually, this deck's theme was really like Death Touch. A lot of Death Touchers in this deck, and that did annoy my opponents quite a bit. This one is really cool because you can target a card from a graveyard to exile it when ETBs. If it's a creature, you make the opponent lose 2 life, and then you gain 2 life. So Diregraph Scavenger, I feel like is a nice, it just has a nice little effect that makes it just that touch better. Plus it's a Death Toucher with 2/3, decent stats. One of my favorites in the format, really, and I was lucky enough to grab 2 of them. Blood Fountain. Only costs 1. You get a blood token when ETBs, and that's super. And then later, you can sacrifice it, pay 3 and a black to return up to 2 target creature cards from your graveyard to your hand. That's massive. You know, if you have something great, you see this on the board, and then you're just like, oh my gosh, they're just going to get their best creatures back into their hand and play them again. That can be really frustrating. I think Blood Fountain is a really overperforming card in draft. I think it's just really a nice piece, and I'm happy to draft anytime I'm in black. Ooh, here's the Mythic Cultivator Colossus. This is my pack 1 pick 1. It's a 7-drop, and that's why I was kind of concentrating on getting the Mana Dork, and I was trying to get more of those guys, and even Nature's Embrace maybe help get this out. It has Trample, and its power and toughness are equal number of lands you control, which is great if you actually have all the lands. So if you had like 7 lands, and he comes out, it's a 7/7. That's pretty powerful with trample, but there's like no like ward or any protection for this. So that's not that great. It can die to Death Toucher, obviously. It has a secondary ability, but in Limited, I feel like it's really hard to get that because it says when Cultivator Colossus enters the battlefield, you may put a land from your hand onto the battlefield tapped, and then draw a card and then repeat the process. However, rarely would you have lands because you spent them all trying to get them to play this to do the secondary ability. And so, not that great, but I just took it. Fun card. I think the real stars of the draft for me were the removal. I got 4 removal cards, Gift of Fangs, 2 Bleed Dries, and Wolf Strike. Bleed Dries came up a lot, and I know they were frustrating for my opponents to have to face off against. Wolf Strike also did a lot of work. Gift of Fangs, the nightmare scenario came up for me with Gift of Fangs because Gift of Fangs, it's a great concept. Like, you enchant a creature and it gets +2/+2 if it's a vampire, but if it isn't, it gets -2/2. So it can be a removal spell, or if you have vampires, it can pump them. But the sucky situation is if they just have like vampires on their side, and then this card would just buff them, and then if you don't have anything on your side to bequeath this to, then it's just a dead, terrible card. So typically I like this. It's only a 1-drop, but I do enjoy it. So that was the draft. For me, it was tons of fun. I loved it. I always love going to draft. Crimson Vow is still going to be here for at least a few more weeks. Looking forward to, like I said, Kamigawa, but I'm still going to talk about Crimson Vow till it's totally done. So thanks for watching. Thanks for checking out the cards I got in the draft, and I'll see you next time.